I don't know. This wasn't just like a sexy old mustache. This was like, she had black hairs jutting out of her face. So my sister and I made a pact right then and there, that if either one of us was ever in that situation, the other one would come in with a pair of tweezers. I promised my sister that even if her kids were waiting at the door to come in and say their final farewell, I'd be standing over her bedside like a grief-stricken esthetician. Because that's love, that's family. You know, we can't control how we go out, but we can go out smooth. Many years ago, I learned that we should not meet our heroes. A long time ago, I met this very prestigious political scientist, total intellectual. He'd written many books, including a book about his own escape from the Holocaust. So he was well known, you know, amongst Holocaust survivors. Sort of the Beyonce of genocide literature. He was in his 80s, but he was still really sharp. So I took a chance and I invited him to our Passover Seder, and he said yes. I was thrilled. I mean, what better way to tell the story of our Exodus than with his real-life story of survival? I asked him if I could share some of his story, or he would share some of his story with our guests. He said, of course. I was so excited. I cooked for days. I invited my parents and many other guests. I set the table. This was going to be a beautiful night of Jewish liberation and trauma bonding. And then he began. He started with when he was still a boy, living in Austria. When I was 10 years old, he said, I had a nanny and a piano teacher named Liesel. Very big bosom. Okay, I thought. Bold opener, but okay. He went on. She would stand over me as I would practice my scales, and I would gently press into her side booty. This Holocaust survivor started with a side boob story. I tried to really move along. I was like, and then you got out of Austria, and you went through Russia, and you eventually made your way to China. He was like, I am getting to that. But he never did. He kept circling back to Liesel. I can still see her, smell her heaving bosom as she played Chopin. By the time I got to the matzo ball soup, my Seder had turned into 50 Shades of Oy Vey. My mother sat there frozen. My stepdad just kept nervously eating matzah. I mean, this guy may have survived the Holocaust, but he never survived puberty. They tell us, as Jews, that we should retell our story of liberation every single year, but probably not with that much nipping. So, I've been married for almost 30 years. It's insane. When I first met my husband, I mean, muy guapo, I thought he was my soulmate. But looking back, I realized, I think I was probably just horny. You know, a feeling I only vaguely remember. I remember the moment when I realized he might not be my soulmate after all. It was the moment when he uttered the words, my favorite book of all time is Lord of the Rings. Which makes sense because, you know, I look like a hobbit. I thought, oh my God, this could have been a huge mistake. What was supposed to be a romantic journey turned into a 12-hour trilogy where nobody has sex and everybody talks in riddles. He survived somehow. So I was raised by a gay dad. He was a lovely man who did his best. But he didn't always know what he should and should not say to his two daughters, to be a good dad to his two daughters. Your Honor, I would like to present what a father should never say to a daughter. After she has just given birth to her first child, he should never, under any circumstances, say, don't forget to do your Kegels. That's what my dad said to me, and I have not stopped barfing since. And by the way, Dad, it's pronounced Kegels. Tomatoes, tomato, potato, what do you think? So yeah, my dad was wonderful. He died way too young. But if he did come back, I do have one beef I would like to settle with him. If he came back to Earth for one day, I would say to him, how in God's name did you think that the best song in Sound of Music was Climb Every Mountain? I mean, I think you'd be kicked out of even the 1970s queer club for that. You know, how did he not know that My Favorite Things, i.e. Raindrops on Roses, was the queerest song in the show? Now, granted, I am saying this as a, straight, normative scumbag, but, I did have a gay dad and I have a gay son, so I'm taking a little bit of license here. I mean, you think that Julie Andrews is just listing things when she sings that song? No. Raindrops on Roses and Whiskers on Kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens. She's curating the perfect Pinterest board. I mean, brown paper packages tied up with string. We love a mysterious reveal. It seems to me this is not just a mysterious parcel, but a coming out metaphor tied with a ribbon. And she's singing all of this in a twinkly Austrian manner, surrounded by 7 children, all harmonizing along with her. It's a Broadway boot camp. Of course, she's singing Do Re Mi, meanwhile my Holocaust survivors singing about double D's. Maybe Austria has something for everyone? Maybe the Jews? As she's singing this, I just want to cheer her on with a, yeah!